welcome back. Today I wanted to talk about a new hobby that I've picked up in the last month or so. Something I've been wanting to get into for a while, and finally I've gotten around to doing, is flying quadcopters. So it's my first one. It's the Syma X8C model. It comes with a 2 megapixel camera, and yeah, it flies pretty well for what I can understand and from what I can tell. Does everything I want it to do for now. I'm sure there'll be another one in the coming months or year or so, but just want to talk about a couple of the modifications I'm planning on making because I'm a bit of a tinkerer. So first of all, I mentioned there's a 2 megapixel camera, so the first thing I did was I bought a GoPro style action camera. It's called the Xiaomi Yi camera. It's basically the GoPro form factor. It's a little tiny little thing, no screen on the back. I actually wanted one without a screen because I don't want to deal with battery life issues or anything like that with the camera. So the first thing I want to do is figure out how to strap it onto the quadcopter and get it up in the air. So let me show you how I did that real quick. I basically took the camera that came with the X8C apart, and the bottom panel of it is held together with 4 screws. There's a little knob that's right here. I took that out and mounted I'm not sure if you can see there, but there's a captive nut that I put underneath here. It's just held tightly by this in the bracket that's native to the quadcopter, held in there, and then I can put the waterproof case for the camera mounts directly in there with a standard quarter inch screw. So that worked out pretty well. With that, I can actually tilt the camera up or down. Obviously not when it's up in the air, but I can manually do it when it's on the ground. So it looks pretty good, but the best way to get really good footage in the air is to use a proper gimbal, either a 2D or a 3D gimbal. So that's actually on order, and I'll have that installed in probably a week or two. Let me show you some footage of the original camera and what that looks like, because then you have something to compare against. Alright, so the camera aside, the next thing I wanted to do was make a modification to how it actually flies. So I've seen there are a couple different types of controllers that you can use with drones. This is basically the throttle on this style is either off when it's completely down, or as it goes up to 100% throttle. And you can find yourself somewhere in the middle if you want to hover, or come down, you just lower it a little bit, and so forth. So this is just basically a percentage of full throttle that you're doing by adjusting it up and down. The other style is like the pitch and roll adjuster on this controller, which it snaps back to the middle always. So some controllers actually have that on both sticks, and so that's actually what I'm intending to do with this. And what that will do is, when it's in the middle, if we pretend this isn't here and that this were the altitude stick, if it were in the middle and it were off, it would be doing nothing, as you'd expect. But as I go up, it would increase the altitude, and if I let go, it's going to hold altitude at that level. And if I go up a little bit more, it's going to go higher. If I just hold it way up, it's going to go as high as it can go, for example. As I come down, it's going to lower altitude. If I come all the way down, once it gets to the ground, I hold it for a little bit for the motors to come completely to a stop, and then it's stopped, obviously. So obviously just the controller isn't going to change that, but that's something I will need to do because I'll need it to be in the middle in order to actually hold altitude once I have the modification of the quadcopter done as well. So there is a quadcopter by Syma that does just that, has that altitude-hold feature called the X8G, and the difference between the X8C's board and that flight controller board that is it has an onboard barometer. So it's actually possible with the X8C to take this board off, buy a separate board for the X8G, and put it on for, it's only about 10 or 12 bucks. to do the swap, and then apparently that plus the controller mod allows you to have the altitude hold feature. So that's what I was thinking of doing initially. But what I'm going to do first, because it seems, from what I can tell from pictures of the board, pins on the board for the X8C are actually available for the altitude hold. So what I'm planning on doing, and I have on order, is just the barometer is on its way. And what I'm going to do is solder that in place and see if the firmware on the X8C actually supports the altitude hold feature if the barometer is in place. I haven't seen anybody else on the internet that's done that, so it's something I wanted to do and just try out and see if it worked. If it doesn't work out, the barometer is only about $2, so I'm not out that much, and I got to try something that I haven't seen anyone else do. So, alright, so the first thing we have to do is take this guy apart. I don't really think I'm going to go through every step of the way because there are about 50 different videos I've seen on YouTube already of how to take this thing apart. It's a pretty popular quad, so I'm just going to go through it quickly. Mentioned, right here in the center we have this blank space with those 4 pads on it across the top here. So here's the antenna, and coming straight down from there we have 4 pads right on top. That's exactly where the barometer goes on the X8G. So what I'm going to do now is test, I believe it's the left 2 pads from your angle are ground or voltage in, or the opposite. The other 2 are outputs. So I'm going to test those, find out which is which, and if they're actually hot, so that I know if I at least have a chance with what I'm intending to do here. What I'll do actually is sync up the controller so that I know the system is ready to go. I don't know if that would be what I'm trying to test would be active if it weren't connected to the controller. So. And I think it's voltage then ground. So I'm going to start there. If I get positive, I know I'm right. If I get negative voltage, then I know I'm opposite. And if I get 0, then I don't have much. and I have negative 3.3 volts, which is a good sign, which means I was wrong, but at least it's hot. And 3.3 volts the other way. So I have ground, V in, and then 2 other pads. The 2 other pads, from what I could tell from the pictures, did match the X8G, or rather did match the barometer chip that I have on order. The voltage in and ground, from what I could tell, were reversed. So what I'm going to have to do is lift it off the board a little bit and put a jumper to cross this 2 over. And so it'll be standing off a little bit from the board. It won't look quite like an X8G when I'm done, but if I can get it to work, it'd be cool. So that's still the plan right now. In about 3 days, I will have that chip, and I'll have more information. Of course, I'm never satisfied with what I first see, or with leaving things alone, I guess. And I noticed there are 4 open holes up here as well. Now I'm really curious what those are for. Right up here, see those 4 holes? You can actually see right through them with the lighting. I don't know what those are for, or what could possibly be missing there. It's right next to the antenna, so I don't know.
As always,
what
thanks
that
for
could
watching, and if you like this, please like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Thanks. Bye.